Hello and welcome to section 4 of the complete Ruby on Rails developer course. I hope you're enjoying the course so far. In this section, we'll start working on the backend or the database and model layer of our Alpha Blog application. So far, we only have a couple of pages in our app, and we've looked at a test application where we were able to basically build the database operations of create, read, update, and delete by using scaffold generators. But for our Alpha blog, we're going to build these from scratch. Okay? So first, I'm going to navigate over to my blog. So cd code Rails projects Alpha blog. Okay. So the first thing we want for our blog is an articles table, right? Because a blog will have articles. So let me pull up a diagram for this. Here we go. So this is the table that we're looking at building. It's going to be an articles table. It'll have an ID, which will be generated by Rails, so we don't have to worry about that. Each article will have a title and a description. So before we start building this table, we have to look at some Rails conventions, okay? And naming is very important for Rails conventions. Of course, you can bend this code later on and name it something else only if you specify, but we're not going to do that. We're going to stick to convention. So if you have an articles table that's lowercase plural articles, okay, the model name is going to be article, singular, with uppercase for the first letter. So it's going to be capitalized article, a article. And then the table, associated table for that model will be lowercase plural articles. Okay? So model name, singular, first letter uppercase. Table name, plural, lowercase of model name. All right? And that is very important to remember. Now the model name file name is going to be all lowercase, so article.rb. And this will be in the models folder. And the controller name is going to be plural of model, so articles underscore controller.rb. All right? So file names are going to be snake case, which looks like this. And model name or class names are going to be camel case. Okay? So similarly, let's look at another example so we kind of know what's going on. Later on, we're going to have users in our application. We don't have them yet, but let's look at the model for user and the table as well. All right, so let me pull that up. So here's user. So just like article, for the user model, the model name will be uppercase U, user, singular. Okay, so for this model user, Rails by default will be looking for a users table. So lowercase and plural of user. All right. So model, singular, first letter uppercase, table, plural, lowercase of model name. Now model name file name is going to be again singular, user.rb, controller name, plural of model. So users underscore controller.rb. And we're going to see this in action later on, but it's very important to understand these naming conventions in Rails. So first thing, I'm going to close out of this. Let's go ahead and build our articles table, okay? So we're going to build this. It's always good to reference this table view so you can see what you're building. So we know we're going to have an articles table, and it's going to have title and description. So let's go and build this. To build this, we're going to generate a migration, okay? So how do we generate a migration? To generate a migration, make sure you're in the Alpha blog, Rails, generate migration, and then you're going to snake case this. So create underscore articles. So Rails generate migration, create articles. That's it. Hit enter. Invoke active record, there is a migration file, okay? So this migration file will be in your DB folder, right here, migrate. Now there it is, the first one. I'm going to move this a little to the right. There you go. It created this migration file. So define change, create table articles. So this is already done for you. But we need 2 columns in our table, right? ID, again, we don't have to worry about. Rails is going to provide that for us. So what do we do here? Let's add title. So to do that, here's this block of code here. Remember, do T. So T dot, and we're going to say of type string. All right. So T dot string, and then you're going to say colon title. It'll have a title. All right. Save that. Now, normally, I would also say t.text, so of type text, description. Okay? But I won't do that right now because I want to show you another way of adding description once we create the table. So let's say I forgot to add description and I just have a title. And I save that. And to create the table, I have to now run this migration file. So what I'll do over here, down in the command line, is rake db : migrate. Okay, so there it is. Creating articles, create table articles, the table is created. If you look at the schema file now, notice how I have an articles table with string title. All right, now several things are missing over here. I wanted description here as well, not just title. So how do I add that? I'm going to close out of this migration file. You have a couple of options, right? I can do rake db : rollback. What does that do? If I do that, it drops the table articles. All right? The articles table is gone. Now I don't have the articles table anymore. If I look at my schema, notice how the table's gone. All right? That's one way. And then I can just basically update this migration file. I can say t.description. t.text. And then I'll say description. Save that. Now if I type in rake db migrate, it created articles. Now let's look at the schema again. This time you have title and description. All right. How about we roll this back again? Rake db rollback. Now I'm going to close this. Look at the schema again. The table's gone. So this is actually not a preferred way of doing this. So when you make a mistake, the best way is to create a new migration file. All right. So let me go do this the preferred way. So I have the title. I'm going to get rid of description. Save that. Now if I run rake db migrate again, it created the table. Now if I look at the schema, okay, so there's the title. Now I want to add description to this. To do that, I can do Rails generate migration add __ description _2 _articles. Hit enter. Now it created a new migration file. Okay, so let's look at that. I'm going to close out of the existing one. Let's look at the new migration file. Define change. It just gave me a method, right? The change method is how I'm going to update the table. So first thing we're going to do is use this method add column, and then this add column, you can specify what you're doing. First, you're going to give it the table name. So I'm going to say :articles. Okay. The next thing is the attribute name. So I'm going to say :description. And then the third thing you're going to provide is the type for the attribute name, text. So add column, articles. So articles table, the name of the attribute, description, and text. Now there's something else I want to add. I want to add timestamps. Now timestamps normally are added to tables simply by typing in let's say t.timestamps. If we look at this migration file, if we had just did t.timestamps when we created the table, Rails would have automatically added a created at and an updated at column to this table. And Rails maintains those two columns, all right? But we didn't do that, so we need to add those columns over here. So I'm going to do add column again. Articles table is going to be created at, and the names have to be created at and updated at. Otherwise, Rails will not track them. And the type is date time. All right. Similarly, add column articles. I'm going to say updated at. Again, type is date time. So now I have these three columns that I'm adding to the table. All right. So let's go ahead and run this migration. Now, since we already ran the prior migration, Rails actually tracks which migration files have been run. So if I had simply not created this migration file and ran rakedb migrate again, nothing would have happened. It's not going to keep creating articles table. Once it runs, it tracks it, it doesn't run it anymore. So now the only file it's going to run is this one, which we just updated. So let's go ahead and run this. So rakedb :migrate. Hit enter. Okay, so there are the three columns that got added. So let's look at our schema right now. Schema file was already open, so this is a prior one. So I'm going to open it again. Look at this. So now I have a table articles that has title, description, created at, and updated at. Perfect. So I have the table. Now, how am I going to communicate with the table? Let's look at our diagram again. Here we go. To communicate with the table, you need a model, okay? So this is the connection of our application to the database tables. So let's go ahead and create the model. And we know from our image that for the articles table, the model name, caps article, and the file name has to be lowercase singular article.rb. So let's go ahead and create that. So I'm going to close these out. So under app, models, right click, new file, article.rb. Then open that. And over here, you're going to have to say class article, camel case and first letter uppercase, subclass from active record : base. Again, camel case and then base. End. Save that. So now I have the article model. You don't need to put anything in there right now. So how do we test if our table got generated? With the magic of Rails, just because we have created this model, Rails now gives us getters and setters for the table, okay, for each attribute in the table. For example, if I look at the schema again, we have all these columns. Because we have the article model now, Rails is actually going to give us getter and setters for all of these columns. So we can fill them in from the console itself. So let's test it out. So we're going to go to Rails console. All right. So type in Rails space console and hit enter. And the console basically gives you direct access to your database. And you can basically treat this as a playground where you can test out things like database connections, you can test out methods, you can do anything. And it loads all of your applications, models, and everything here. All right. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to test out the connection to my articles table. To do that, type in article, okay, dot all. Okay, so the connection's there. It's an empty array-like structure here because we don't have any articles. Now, if I just type in article, hit enter, Notice how it gives me all of the attributes right here. We have integer, we have title, we have description, we have created at, and we have updated at, and it gives the types for each. All right, so now let's create a variable. Article equals article, which is the class name, dot new. Okay, it created a new article variable. Notice how everything is nil. Now, what if I want to add a title? Okay, this ID being nil because article is not saved yet. That'll be assigned once it hits the database. If I still look at article, if I look at article.all to see what's in the database, you'll see it's still empty because we haven't saved this article yet. Okay, now let's use the setters. So we have a title, so we're gonna have a title setter. So we can simply say article.title equals, this is my first article. Within quotes, hit enter. Okay, now if I type in article, notice how the title's filled in. Now let's fill in description. Article.description equals, we're going to say this is the description. Hit enter. Now if I type in article again, now notice how title and description are both filled in. Now created at, updated at, and ID will be handled by Rails. So if I simply type in article.save and hit enter, check it out. It generates a SQL query for us, which handles this transaction. So it begins transactions, it inserts into the articles table the title, the description, and everything, including created at and updated at, which Rails fills in for us. Then it commits it to the table. Now if I type in article.all, there it is. My table has an entry. It has the article that's saved there. Okay, now we did this in several lines. We first added title, then description. We can do this all in one line, and it's called mass assignment. All right, so let's create a new article variable. So article equals class name article dot new. We're going to say title colon within quotes, this is my second article, and then description, this is my second description. Okay, hit enter. Okay, so there it is. We have a new article, but notice again, this did not hit the database because I used new. So to save this to the database, I have to say article.save. And there you go. Title, description, this is my second article, this is my second description. Now if I type in article.all, now I have two articles in my articles table. All right. Now let's look at another method, another setter method. Okay. Instead of doing article.new and article.save, what we can do is article.create title. This is my third article, and then description, my third article's description. Okay, hit enter. Now what happened there? This directly hit the database. We have an ID, title, it actually inserted this into the database. And why did it do that? Because the create method does this. All right. With new, you get a new article, and then you have to hit .save to basically save that to database. Create hits the database directly. So now if I do article.all, now I have 3 articles. Okay, great. Now to exit the Rails console, you simply type in exit. All right. Now that's what I wanted to cover in this video. In the next video, we're going to look at how to edit and delete articles from the Rails console. All right, I'll see you there. Hello and welcome back. In this video, we're going to continue working on the Rails console and see some other things that we can do from it. So first, let's hop on the Rails console. Make sure you're in the Alpha blog. Okay. So if I type in article.all, I can see all the articles that are in my database right now that I created in the last video. And I did that by using article.new and article.save or article.create. So what if I want to edit an article? Let's say I want to edit this article, the second one right here. How do I do that? First, I have to grab this article, okay? So I'm going to create a variable and call it article. And then I'm going to say article, which is the class name, dot find, and then I'll give it the ID of the article that I want to update. So 2 in this case. Hit enter. Okay, so it grabs the second article. So if I type in article, it has my second article. Now I want to, let's say, edit the title of this article. So I'll do article.title equals, this is an edited article title within quotes. Hit enter. This is an edited article title. Now if I type in article.save, this hits the database. Now if I type in article.all, notice how the second article now has an edited title. This is an edited article title. So that's how you edit an article, okay? So similarly, you can edit description if you want as well. First you grab the article and then you edit what you want and then you save it, okay? And that's how edit works. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to destroy an article. What if I want to delete this third article over here? Article ID 3, this is my third article. I just want to delete it. How do I do that? To do that, again, grab article equals article.find and then 3. So now my article variable has the third article. If I simply do article.destroy, hit enter, delete from articles table where ID is 3, and it returns the article that it deleted. Now if I type in article.all, notice how the third article is gone from my articles table, okay? So that's how you delete an item from the table. So that's great. We have ability to create, edit, and delete. But there is one problem. Notice how our model is completely empty. So it allows for something like this. What if I create an article equals article.new, okay? Everything is nil. What if I do article.save? Notice it hits the database. I have created an empty article with no title, no description, but it still hits the database. And that's a problem because now I have an empty article with title, description, nil, and it exists in the database. We don't want that. We want to maintain data integrity for our application's data, okay? So how do we counter it? We counter it by adding validations at the model layer. So in our model file, we're going to add validations that enforce some constraints on articles. Basically, when you create an article, we have to ensure that it contains a title and a description. So first, I'm going to get rid of this article. If I do, then it shows me the fourth article, which is still there. So I'll just do article.destroy. So it deleted that. Okay. So if I do article.all, okay, so that empty article is gone. So let's first enforce a validation on the title. So over here, simply type in validates : title, comma, presence, true. Okay, what this does is it enforces that before the object that I create hits the database, it will ensure that there's a title. Otherwise, it will not save in the database. So let's try it out. Let me see. Article equals article.new, and I'll basically not add a title. I'll just add description. This is title. This is article's description. So notice how I haven't added a title, hit enter. So this article object got created with a nil title with just a description. Now if I type in article.save, it hit the database. Okay, and this is an error on my part. Why did it work? Because I didn't restart or reload the Rails console. Okay, so this update to the model, it didn't get loaded. So unfortunately, if I type in article.all, this did get saved. So I'm just gonna delete that. So article.destroy. Okay, let me reload. I think reload is the method. Whoops, nope, that's not it. Just type in reload bang, hit enter. Okay, so now it's reloaded. You can also simply exit and then hit Rails console again. All right, so article equals article.new, and then I'll leave title out and description, I'll say this is description. Hit enter. So the article object got created with no title. Now if I type in article.save, notice how it said rollback transaction and it returns a false because it didn't hit the database. How do I find out why it did that? Rails provides you with a very helpful method. You can just say article.errors ? Whoops, I left out something. You have to say article.errors.any ? And it says true. Now I want to know what those errors are. So you can type in article.errors.full_messages and hit enter. Notice how it says title can be blank. So it actually gives you a very helpful error message. All right. So now in order to save an article to the database, the title has to be present. Now let's do that for description also. Validates description presence true. Now there's another validation that I want to add at this time, which is right now, if I say article equals article.new and title, I'll just say A, and then description, I'll say B. Now this doesn't make any sense, right? This is a useless title and a useless description. It's just going to have an article with a title and a B description. That's not good, but since it is present, right, since I did provide title and description, it will save. So if I type in article.save, it hits the database because something was present there, right? So it passed these validations. So we're going to add another constraint to title and another one to description, which is length validation. We will ensure that length cannot be too short. So how do we do that? Simply do this, comma, length, colon, and then open curly brace. I'm going to say minimum colon 3, and then maximum colon 50. So the title can be minimum 3 characters and maximum 50. All right. Now, similarly for description, I'll say length colon open brace minimum colon 10 and maximum I'll say 300. Okay, so let me save that. Now let's try it again. So I'll do reload bang. Okay, so now article equals article.new title A description B. Now if I type in article.save, okay, so it didn't allow it to go through. If I type in article.errors.full_messages, it says title is too short, minimum is 3 characters, description is too short, minimum is 10 characters. Okay, so both our validation messages are working. Perfect. Now I'm going to exit out of the console. All right, so we've gone a good amount of time without committing our code. So if I just type in git status, Notice these are the files that I've created. These are not being tracked right now. I have article, I have migrate folder, then I have schema.rb file. So I'm going to add them, git add -a, then git commit -m. I'll say create articles table model and add validations. Hit enter. Okay, so now I'm going to push this to my GitHub repository. So git push, hit enter. Perfect. So that's saved in our repository. All right, so now we've seen how to create, edit, and delete articles simply by having the model. And then we also added validations to the model, right? But so far, we can only do this from the back end via the Rails console. But we want the ability to do this from the browser, right? Because ultimately, users are going to be using our application, and they'll need to be able to do this from the browser or the user interface, right? So in the next video, we'll start with that. We'll start the feature where users can do these actions from the browser. All right. And for that, we'll need to work with routes, controllers, and views. So I'll see you there. Hello and welcome back. In this video, we'll work on adding new articles to our application from the browser. So the first thing I want to do is show you the life cycle of an article object and how it's going to flow through our application. So let me pull that up. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. First, you're going to need to initiate an instance variable at article. The @ sign indicates that it's an instance variable, and this will take place at the controller level. Okay, so in your articles controller. Once you initiate this instance variable, you'll need to add the attributes, the title and description for it. So basically, you'll need a form that will display on the browser when you go to a path. Let's say articles/new. It'll display title, so an input box to enter in title, and then a box to enter in description. And then there'll be a submit button. Now, once that form is submitted, that will go back to the controller, and it'll be handled in the controller by the create action. Okay. Now the create action will need to take these attributes, the value of these attributes, the value of title and the value of description, and it's going to need to whitelist them. Okay. And that's called strong parameters, and it started in Rails 4. Basically, once they're whitelisted, the create action will need to create a new instance variable, an article instance variable, with these title and description values, and then it's going to try to save it to the database. Now, before it tries to save the database, it's going to go through the validations to see that the title and description pass the constraints that we've set for them in our model, in our article model, okay? Once it passes that, it's going to hit the database and create a new row for it, okay? So that's the flow of how an article is going to be saved to our database, okay? So let's go ahead and build this. So back to our IDE, first thing I'm going to do is start the server. Whoops, I think my server is already running. Yep, it is. So I'm actually going to shut this down and then restart it. Okay, and then preview port 3000 default is the home page. So the route that I'm anticipating is going to be the articles/new route to see a form where I can input in title and description. So I hit enter, it says no route matches because I don't have this route yet. So let's go ahead and add this route. So to add a route, go to your config routes.rb file, and over here, we're going to add this line. It's called resources:articles, okay? And save that. Now, what did that do? This one line, resources articles, gave us a new article path, a post to create articles, an edit article path, a patch to update articles, delete article path, show article path, and index article path. All of those paths it gave me simply by saying resources articles. So let's take a look. Over here, I'll clear this up. Rake routes. Look at this. There's the new article path. There's the edit article path. There's the show, update, and then destroy. Okay, and then on top, there's the index. It gave us all of these paths just by saying resources articles. All right, so now let's see what happens when we reload this page. Uninitialized constant articles controller. So let's go ahead and build the articles controller. So under app, controllers, right click, new file, articles, make sure it's plural of the model. So articles underscore controller.rb. File name is always snake case. Now pull up articles controller. Over here, you're going to say class articles controller. Remember, class name has to be camel case. So the A and C are capitalized. Subclass from application controller end. All right. And we already know that this is going to have a new action because I'm looking for a new articles route. So here I'll say define new end. Save that. Now let's see what that did. Reload. Okay, missing templates, articles, new. So let's go ahead and build a template. So remember, this is articles controller. So under views, it's going to look for an articles folder. So under views, right click, new folder, we're going to call it articles. All right, and under articles, new file, it's going to be new.html.erb. Open it. Now within it, we're going to type out create an article. Okay. Then close the h1 tag, save that. There you go. Perfect. So create an article. Now our link is working and we are getting a page. It's rendering this new page. So what we need to do now is add the form to this. So let's go ahead and do that. So over here, what's important to know here is that this is a model back form because we have an article model. And for dealing with model back forms, Rails provides this helper method, which is called form4. And it basically makes creating a form and dealing with forms very easy. To learn more about Form4 helpers, you can just go to guides.rubyonrails.org/form_helpers.html. Okay? Or you can simply Google Rails Form4 helpers. All right? I would encourage you to read up on this if you like. We're not going to go into too much detail, but it goes through things like what is the HTML that's generated from the Form4 helper and things like that. All right? So back over here, the way to do that is you open embedded Ruby tag. Now you have to put an equals here, okay? Then form_for at article, okay? Do, because this is going to be a block, and then a variable name within pipes. So I'm going to call it F. You can call this whatever, G or anything else that you like. I'm going to call it F and then close the embedded Ruby tag. And then I'm going to close this block with an end. Let me save that. Let me see what that did. Argument error in articles new, form4 article. It doesn't know what this at article is. So what is this at article? I didn't initiate this instance variable at article anywhere. So I need to do that. And the place I do that is in my articles controller in the new action. At article equals article, which is the class name, dot new. Save that. Now if I reload, create an article, there you go. Now this page is loading, nothing's being shown here because I didn't build the form yet. So let's go ahead and build the form. So back to my new HTML ERB, I'm going to give it a p tag and then open embedded Ruby tag again with an equals because I'm going to render this f.label, and we're going to be working with the title and description attributes. So this is going to be title, close embedded Ruby, then embedded Ruby again, f.text field. Now title is a string, so a text field should be adequate to deal with it. So text field, title, close embedded Ruby. Okay, close the p tag, save that. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so I have title, but this is right next to, this box is right next to title, so I want to put a break in here. Save that. If I reload, okay, so title, and there it is, the box for title. Next, we want to deal with description. So I'm going to say p tag, and then embedded Ruby again, f.label. I'm going to say description. Then I'm going to put a BR tag, and then embedded Ruby again, f.text. Now this one is going to be area because description is type text. So I need a bigger box to enter in the description. So text area, description, close embedded Ruby tag, then close the p tag, save that. Over here, reload. Okay, so I have title, I have description, perfect. Now I need a submit button. So to do that, go down here, p again, and embedded Ruby. We're going to say f.submit, close the tag, save that, reload. Perfect. Title, description, and a button to create article. Okay. Now that is not going to work because I don't have the action create yet. But my form, articles/new, my form is working. So let's go ahead and build the create action. Click title. This is title. Description. This is the description. Then click on create article. The action create could not be found in articles controller. So in articles controller, define create end. Save that. Now if I reload, it's going to say, should I resubmit? Say continue. Missing template articles create. This template error, this is completely fine. Okay. It's looking for articles create template. You don't have to worry about that. We need to handle what's being sent in, okay? It's not, this create action is not going to have a template. This create action is going to be an end in itself and will not require a template. So over here, if you want to display what's being passed in, from here, when we entered in the title and description, it passed that in to the controller. If you simply want to display what it was passing in, you can simply say render plain and then params. It's sending it in through the params hash. All right. So params simply article, and then we want to display it. So dot inspect. Okay. Let's see what that does. If I if I reload now, click continue. Notice how now it's actually displaying the title. This is a title, description. This is a description. So whatever we're entering in is getting received by the create action. All right. And this is what it has, title and description. Now we need to do something with this. We need to save this. All right. So first we're going to need to create a new instance variable. So @article equals article.new. We will need to construct this new article with what's being passed in from the params hash, right? But we can't directly do that. First, I'm going to get rid of this. We can't directly create a new article with what's being passed in from the params hash. We're going to need to whitelist the values of article. All right. So to do that, we're going to write a method. So I'm just going to say over here, article underscore params for now. All right. And then I'll say article.save, and that's it. Now underneath over here, I'm going to say private, and here I'm going to define article underscore params, which is the method over here. Then end. Now in the article params method, we're going to say params dot require, and the top level key is article. Okay, so params dot require top level key article, and then we're going to permit for the article, the key that is article, we're going to permit the values of title and description. Okay, so that is the article param. So basically, from the params hash, we're going to allow these, and with that, we're going to construct a new article instance variable, and then we're going to save it. So let's try that. Make sure you save this. Now back to our browser. So I'm going to say articles-new, title, this is a new article, description, this is description for a new article. Click on create article, missing template, articles create. That's fine, but over here, once the article is being saved, it doesn't know what to do. There's no template to show for create, right? Because it's working, it's actually hitting the database, but it doesn't know what to show. And we're gonna work on that in a second. First, I want to go to Rails console. Now, if I type in article.all, notice this latest one, this article ID 7. This is a new article. This is a description for a new article. And then it has the created at and updated at. This is the one that just got created. All right, let's try that again. I'm going to go to articles/new, testing article, hello, testing article. Click on create article. Okay, that's fine. Over here, I'm going to reload. Now, if I type in article.all, notice how there's the 8th one, title, testing article, description, hello, testing article. So it's working. It just doesn't know what to do here. After it's saving, it doesn't know what to do. What we're going to do now is we're going to direct, once it saves, to the show template, where it's going to show the article after it creates. All right. To do that, you can simply say redirect to articles show, and then you have to give it the article. All right. So article show, if you exit from here, rake routes, over here, the article show is the article path, but it needs the article. See, /article/ID, it needs the article. So redirect to articles path, and you're going to pass in the article. So it will go to that path. Now, we haven't defined the show action as yet, so this will not work right now. If I reload this, actually, no, if I just type in a new one and then testing again, hello, testing show, and then create article, undefined method article show, because we don't have the show action yet. All right. But again, it did hit the database. So in the next video, we're going to build this show action. All right. Now, before that, let me shut down my server and let's go ahead and do a commit. So git add -a, git commit -m, and we're going to say create new template action and route. Okay. Hit enter. And then we can push this to our GitHub repository. So git push. All right, great. So that's it for this video, and in the next one, we'll work on the show action. I'll see you there. Hello and welcome back. In the last video, we built the ability to create new articles from the browser, but there are a couple of problems with it. First, it's not complete yet. The create action is not complete yet. And second, we made an error in the create action, which caused this error, which we need to fix right now. So first of all, I'm going to do rake routes. Okay, so the show path is article, okay? But we put here articles show. That is not the correct path in our create action. So first we're going to fix that. This is simply going to be article path, and then we're going to pass in the @article instance variable, okay? So that's one. So this error is going to be different. Let's try it out. If I go articles/new, and then enter in a title, hello new article, this is a test, create article, the action show could not be found. This is the error that should have been showing up, okay? Not the error that we got. So that is fixed. We fixed the path. But usually this is not how create actions look, okay? We have a couple of problems here. We're just assuming that the article will save and redirect to this path. So what if the information that's submitted for the title and description doesn't pass our validations? Then what do? Then we have a problem. So we're going to need to fix that. I'll show you what it usually looks like. I'm going to comment this out. Usually for create action, this is what it looks like. Okay, it takes the form if @article.save, then do something, else render the new template again. Okay, so if @article.save, do something, else render within quotes new, or you can just say :new, whichever you prefer. I prefer the within quotes. This will basically render the new template again, end. Now, what is this else condition? This means there were validations that failed, okay? Validations basically did not allow the article to be saved. So it'll render the new template again in order for us to attempt to create a new article again. Now, what happens if it does save? We already know the second part, which is redirect to, and then any path we want. In this case, we want the article path, and we're giving it article, okay? Now over here, if @article.save, we want to give some kind of message to the user, right? We want to say, hey, your article was created, or something to that order. So an easy way to do that is flash, and then notice, and we'll say article was successfully created. And so flash within square brackets :notice equals within quotes article was successfully created. All right, let me save that. So, and then I'll get rid of all this other code, and I will uncode this because we still need to create article with the article params. All right, and I'll get rid of this. Okay, now there's a bit of a problem. This flash notice, so now we have to handle displaying this notice. Where do we display it? So all the views in your application, so under app, views, all of these views are basically wrapped by this application HTML ERB page, okay? So every view you have, articles, pages, anything, is wrapped by application HTML ERB. This is a wrapper file. So anything I put in here will be displayed on every page. So when we have this helpful flash message displaying when an article is successfully created, we want to display that here. So let's go ahead and add the messages here. So over here, I'm going to say embedded Ruby. So what we're doing here is flash. So I'm going to say flash.each do, then pipe name and MSG pipe. Okay, so flash.each do pipe name comma space message pipe, then close embedded Ruby tag. And since this is a block, I have to end it. Okay, so end. Over here, we're going to say ul and then li open embedded Ruby tag with an equals, and I'm simply going to display the message. Okay, close embedded Ruby tag, close li, then close ul. All right, and then the do block for flash is already closed with this end over here. So save that. So now I have a way of displaying the message when article gets successfully created. All right, so at this point, there is something else we have to do. Over here, what if validations do happen here? All right, let's see what I'm talking about. I have saved everything and my server's running. So over here, I'm just going to go to articles new. All right, if I leave title blank and description blank and I hit create article, notice nothing happens. There are no messages. It's not saying why it's not creating the article. The article is not getting created. Now this page is displaying again because I have this render new. It's basically failing this, going to the else of this if branch and rendering the new template again. So I need a way of displaying the errors or the validations that are preventing my article from getting saved. And we're going to do that in the new.html ERB on top over here. We're going to have a display for the errors. So how do we do that? Open embedded Ruby tag, if at article, which is our article instance variable here, dot errors dot any question mark, close embedded Ruby tag, then something, and then I have to close the if, so I'll just put the end right now. All right, so within here, if article.errors.any, then I want to display the errors. So embedded Ruby tag at article.errors.full underscore messages.each, we're going to do, so at article.errors.full messages, so for each full message, do something, and then message, close embedded Ruby tag, and then I'll close that. What do we want to do for each message? I simply want to display it. So I'll do something like this, embedded Ruby, and then message. Okay, but I could have more than one message. I could have more than one error because I have validations for title and description. So I'm going to put this in li tag, then close the li, and then this whole thing I'm going to put in a ul. All right, so ul tag, put this in there. There you go. This is for the end. And then at the end of it, I will just close the ul tag. All right, so now I have a way of displaying my errors, any error messages. So if I go over here, reload this page, check it out. Title can be blank, title is too short, description can be blank, description is too short. All 4 validation messages. But it's not saying over here that there's an error. So what I'll do is over here, I'm going to add an h2 tag and say the following errors prevented the article from getting created. Okay, then close the h2 tag, save that. Let's try again. The following errors prevented the article from getting created, and it gives all of these error messages. Perfect. So now, next step would be to try creating an article. So I'll say, hello, new article. This is a new article again. Click on create. The action show could not be found for articles controller. So let's quickly add this show action. All right. So back here, first thing I want to do is in my articles controller, I'm going to add the show action right here. So define show end. And what is the instance variable going to be for my show action? Notice on top here, the link articles/11. So it's trying to show a specific article. All right. So the ID of my article is 11. And that's what I need to basically show, because this is going to be passed in to my through my params hash to my article. So at article equals article.find, and from my params within close bracket :ID. All right. So sorry, there's a params here. So at article equals article.find. From my params hash, I'm going to find it based on the ID. So in this case, it would have been 11, right? So if I save that, then if I try to basically show this page again, now it's saying that I'm missing a template for article show. Now I have the action. So let me go ahead and create a template. So under views, articles, if you right click here, new file, show.html.erb, and pull it up, and then h1 showing selected article. Now what do I want to show here? I want to show the title and description. So I'm going to put this in a p tag and then title and space embedded Ruby with an equal, since I'm going to render something, and I'll say at article.title, close the embedded Ruby tag, then close the p tag. So there you go. And then another p tag, I'm going to say description : then open embedded Ruby tag again. I'm going to say at article.description, and then close the p tag again. Okay, so over here, it's going to grab the article instance variable. It's going to show the title, and then it's going to show the description over here. And for this scenario, it would have shown for article with ID of 11. All right, so let me reload this page. Check it out, showing selected article, hello, new article, description, this is a new article again. And notice that message, article was successfully created, has also displayed. So I reload this, it'll go away because that was only designed to stay for one redirect cycle. Okay, so it stayed after this redirect, it still showed, but then once I refresh that page, it no longer showed. All right, so let's test this out. I'm going to create a new article. So articles/new. I'm going to try to create a new article. Okay, so the error messages are showing. If I try to do A, then two of these should disappear. Now description can be blank. Okay, this is article 12. Create article. Article was successfully created. Showing selected article, AAA, description, this is article 12. Perfect. So my show action is working, and my new action and the create is working as I want, including the messages. So at this point, let me make a commit. So I'll do git status to see all the updates I've made. Now git add -a, git commit -m, fix create, add flash and error messages, create show. That's three things we've done. Okay, hit enter. Okay, now git push to push our code to our repository. All right, perfect. Now in the next video, we'll work on editing articles. I'll see you there. Hello and welcome back. In this lecture, we'll work on editing existing articles from the UI and then updating our database table. So first of all, I have my server running, and if I go over to my application, this is what it looks like. So first thing we have to do is look at the editing articles route. Okay, so to find that over here, I'll type in rake routes. Okay, there is the format that editing articles takes. It's /articles /ID of the article that we want to edit /edit. Okay, now I already have a few articles that I had created. So if I go to /articles let's say 11/edit, hit enter. Okay, it says the action edit could not be found in articles controller. Let's try a different ID. Should give me the same message, 9, edit. Okay, the action edit could not be found. Okay, so first thing, back to our articles controller. Right under new, I'm going to do define edit end. Save that. Missing template articles edit. So let's create an edit articles template. So just like with new, I'm going to navigate over to app, views, articles, and within it, I'm going to right click, new file, edit.html.erb. Okay, double click on that. Here's my edit articles template. So I'll say edit existing article and close the h1 tag. Save that. Let's try this again. Okay, edit existing article. So that's working. So now I have to build a form to edit this. And the way to build a form, I'm literally going to copy paste this entire thing from article errors any, because the same validations that apply to new articles apply to editing articles. I'll copy all this, Command C, and then Command V. Okay, so first of all, there are the errors. If there are any errors, the same messages apply. Form for article. Since this is a model-backed form, Rails is actually going to pre-fill the information from the database based on the article ID and show it to us when we load this page. Okay, and that's one of the advantages of having a model-backed form and using form for helpers. So let's see what that looks like now. Let me save that, reload this. No method error in articles edit. Okay, if at article.errors.any. So what's going on here? Undefined method errors for nil class. We don't have this at article instance variable. So we need to send that to our edit template. So how do we do that? Over here in your articles controller, we have to find the article. Okay, so at article, and we're going to find that using the ID that's passed in. Okay, so when we click on an article to edit, it's going to have the ID from here. It's going to grab that. So let's go ahead and add this article.find. Now open parentheses, params, close bracket, :ID, close bracket, close parentheses. Save that. Let's try this again. There it is, edit existing article. You have title, description. Notice how the title and description are pre-filled. That's because this is a model-backed form and Rails actually grabbed the existing title and description for the article with ID 9 and it's displaying it over here. All right, so let's edit this. I'm going to do sting show edit and then update article. The action update could not be found for articles controller. Just like The new form submission was handled by the create action. The edit form submission is handled by the update action. So we're going to have to create update action. Define update end. Okay. So following the pattern of create, first we have to create an @article instance variable, and then article.find params ID. Okay, so first we have to create this article instance variable, and then same as create, if @article, but here instead of save, we're going to say update, then flash, close bracket, colon, notice, close bracket, equals, article was successfully updated. Then we want to redirect back to article path. So redirect to, and this is going to be the article show page. So article path, and then pass in the article, close parentheses. Now else, meaning if there were validations, we're going to render the edit template again. So render, edit, end. Okay. So let's see what that did. I'm going to go to articles 9, edit, and then title, testing again, description, hello, testing show, edited. Update article, wrong number of arguments 0 for 1. Okay, so what's going on here? If article.update, what did we do here? We didn't pass in anything, right? So if you look here, if article.update, but update with what? We're going to reuse this article params method to whitelist whatever has been submitted. So article params. This is very similar. If you look at create action, very similar way of building this. Okay, so let's try that again. Articles/9/edit. Show edited. Click on update article. Article was successfully updated. Showing selected article. Testing again. Description. Hello. Testing show edited. This is what we just did. Perfect. Let's try editing a different one. 11/edit. Hello new article. Let's try hello new edited. Okay. Update article. Article was successfully updated. Showing selected article. Hello new edited. Okay, now let's try to edit this again. So /edit. Let's see if the validations are working. So I'll delete title. Update article. The following errors prevented the article from getting created. Title can be blank. Title is too short. Perfect. So our edit and update actions are working correctly. So that's what I wanted to cover in this video. In the next one, we're going to look at listing articles. I'll see you there. Hello and welcome back. In this video, we're going to add a listing of all our articles. So far, we have the ability to create new articles, we have the ability to edit existing articles, and we can show individual articles. But we don't have a page that lists all our articles in our application. So let's take a look. My server is running, so I'm just going to preview the application. Over here, the route for listing articles, which is usually called the index route, is /articles. The action index could not be found for articles controller. So first thing, we're going to add the index action. So in our articles controller, on top over here, above new, I'm going to define index end. Okay, now let's try this again. Missing template articles index. Okay, now over here, first, I want to grab all articles that are in my database. So I'll do something like this. @articles. Now, what you name this is up to you. I'm calling it @articles because I'm going to grab all articles, so it'll be plural. So it'll just be easier for me to work with. equals article.all. So this will grab all the articles from the database, okay? And now I need a view. And the place we're going to create the view is the same place, views articles. Under articles, right click, new file. We're going to call it index.html.erb. All right, so over here, let's say h1, listing all articles. Let's see what that did. There's my page listing all articles. Perfect. Now we need to fill in the information to list each individual article. Okay, so we're going to use a table tag and then table, close the tag. And within it, table row and then table header. We're going to say we have title. So I'm going to say title and then close the table header tag. Then another header is going to be description. Okay, those are the two attributes that we have. Close that header and then close the row. Now, how are we going to display our articles, each of them individually? How are we going to do that? Notice how we grab this add articles instance variable. Okay, this is going to have all of the articles in our database. And the way we're going to display each one is we're going to iterate through this add articles instance variable, which will have each individual article object. And then we're going to display the title and description for each of them. So let's take a look at how we're going to do this. First, embedded Ruby tag. To iterate through, remember, articles.each do, and then I'm going to call this variable article. You can call it anything. Close embedded Ruby tag, and then table row. So on each row, table data, I'm going to have embedded Ruby tag that with an equals because I'm going to render something here. I'm going to reference title and description by using this article variable that I've created here, right? This article object. So article.title, close embedded Ruby tag, close the table data, then again td embedded Ruby tag article dot description, close embedded Ruby, close td, then close the row. All right, once we do that, we have to end this do block. So again, embedded Ruby, and there you go, save that. So let's see what that did. This should display all our articles. And there it is. We have title and description. We have, this is my first title, this is the description. These are all the titles and descriptions that we have in our database. Okay? Now what is missing? We have a listing now of all our articles, but we don't have the ability to basically show each individual one. I want a link to show and a link to edit next to each one, so I can go to those pages, either the show page or the edit page. Okay, so let's go ahead and add those links. First thing we're going to do is look at rake routes. So cd rails projects alpha-blog and then rake routes. So there's my edit article path, and if I scroll up a little, actually it's right below it, there's my show path. So I want those two to be displayed. And then on top, I want a new article link to be displayed on top of the table. So first thing I'm going to do is embedded Ruby tag link to create new article. Okay? And then the path to create new article is new article path. So I'll just say new article underscore path. Close embedded Ruby, save that. Let's see what that did. Create new article. Okay, it's very close, so I'll put it in a p tag. P tag, and then close the p tag. Save that. Okay, much better. So create a new article. Now this should go to my new article route. There it is, create an article. Perfect. Now let's add the edit and show action to each of these. Okay, how do we do that? For each article over here, after it displays title, description, I want it to display embedded Ruby tag, link to edit. Then what is the path? Edit right here, edit article path. So edit underscore article underscore path. Save that. Then TD. Then another TD. Should be link to show. Article path. Now over here, we're going to have to give the article object. And remember, we're iterating through each article and we're assigning them to this article variable, not at article over here. At article is the instance variable that includes all of the articles. So for each individual one, the reference should be just simply article, which is this one. So article path, article. Okay, then close embedded Ruby tag and close the TD. Let's take a look at that. Okay, we have a problem. Edit article path. It's saying no route matches actions edit controller articles. Missing required keys. So here, I didn't give it the article. I simply said edit article path. If you look over here, edit article requires the ID. So edit article path over here, article. There you go. Let's reload this. There you go. So each one has edit and show. If I click on show, it's showing the article. If I click on edit, it's going to the edit article page for that article. Perfect. Now what else is missing here? A couple of more routes are missing, right? First of all, if I go to create new article, what if I don't want to create an article? Then I want to have a link here that goes back to the article's index, right? Similarly, for edit article, if I don't want to edit an article, I want the same link. And then for show article, same thing. So let's add those links. First, I'm going to go to the new article page right here. At the bottom, I'm just going to say embedded Ruby link to back to articles listing. And then I'll say articles path since I have the listing path now. Okay, now close embedded Ruby. Now copy this. Command C. Make sure you save this page. So I'll say Command S to save it. Then go to your show page. The bottom, same thing. Save that. Edit page. Edit HTML ERB. Same thing. Paste that. Save it. All right, now let's reload the page. Perfect. So here's my new article. Title, description, create article, back to articles listing. Perfect, that's working. Edit, title, description, back to articles listing. Perfect. Show, title, description, back to articles listing. Now in the show article page, I want an ability to edit an article also. So let's go ahead and add that. Okay, so I want the edit link in the show page as well. So here's my show HTML ERB. Here's a link to back to articles listing. Over that, I'll simply add in a link to edit this article. And the path should be edit underscore article underscore path. But you have to give it the article. Now in this case, the article is at article right here. So at article. Close embedded Ruby tag. Save this. Now let's see what that looks like. Over here, reload the page. All right, if I go to the show page, edit this article, and then back to articles listing. Okay? Now this doesn't look that good. I want a break in the middle. So I'm going to do this. Add a pipe over here. Save that. Reload. Perfect. edit this article, back to articles listing. All right, so the links are working. Create new article is working. All of the links are working. Now the only action remaining is delete article. But before we do the delete article, there's some redundancy in our code that we need to take care of. First of all, if you take a look at this, look at the edit article template, okay? And then look at the new article template. It's virtually the same page. So what are we gonna do about it? We're gonna extract this away, okay? We're gonna extract away the code from the new HTML ERB and edit HTML ERB and create a form partial. So if we need to make any updates, we can just make it to the form partial and both new and edit will be fine. So we're gonna handle that in the next video and then proceed to building the destroy action. Now, before we move forward, it's time to make a commit to our Git repository, right? We've added some actions. So first, I'm going to shut down my server. Okay, so over here, we'll do git status. So I've modified these three articles controller with the new and show action, and then my edit and index aren't even tracked. So what I'll do is first git add -a, then git commit -m, add edit, update, show, and index listing. Okay, close quote, hit enter. So now my changes are committed. Now git push to push our code to repository. All right, perfect. So I'll see you in the next video where we'll work on the partials and the destroy action. Hello and welcome back. In this video, we're going to add a destroy action to our application. If you look at our app right now, we have the edit action, we have the show action, we have the ability to create new articles, but we don't have a way to delete an article. So we're going to add that. But before that, first, we're going to look at partials. Okay. Now, what is a partial? A partial is used to extract away redundancies in our code. All right. Now, if you look at the edit HTML ERB template right here, and then the new HTML ERB template right here, they're virtually identical, except for their title, okay? So let me go ahead and create a partial for this, and we're just gonna call it form. So under your views, articles, okay, right click and new file, and the way you identify a partial is by starting the name with an underscore. So underscore form.html.erb. Okay? And then pull it up. Now we're going to fill in this code. Simply copy all the code from here under create an article from the new.html ERB template, Command C. In our form, just do Command V. If article.errors.any, okay, save that. Now there's no mention of edit or new over here, okay? So we're just going to leave it like this for now. And in the new HTML ERB, delete all of this, okay? And the way you're going to call the form or the partial is embedded Ruby tag equals render and within quotes, form, okay? Now, since it's in the same directory, we don't need to specify the folder. But let's say if this was in a shared directory over here, if it wasn't in just articles, but if it was shared, I would say something like this, shared/form. But since it's in this directory, I'm just gonna say render form, all right? Save that, and let's see what that looks like. So I'll go over here and then click on create new article. There it is, create an article, it's still working. And there's the create article link. Now let me do the same with edit. Okay, so I'll just leave the title and then I'll get rid of everything else. And then I'll say embedded Ruby equals render form. Save that. Reload this page. Whoops, this is the wrong page. I'll go back to articles listing, click on edit. Okay, edit existing article, title, description, update article, everything is still working. Okay, new article. If I just create a new article, let's test it out. Just added partials, description, partials are great. Create article, article was successfully created. Perfect, back to articles listing. There is my new article, okay? Now another thing that I want to clean up, and this is up to you if you want to do this right now. I like my application HTML ERB to literally have as little code as possible. I don't like any clutter in there. So to see this flash message, we're going to move this away to a partial also, all right? Now that is in our layouts right here, application HTML ERB. So what I'll say under layouts is simply right click and then new file. I'll create a partial and I'll call it messages.html.erb. Okay? And then I will copy this code, Command X, go over to my messages HTML ERB, Command V, and then let's fix the indentation over here. So Command left square bracket to move it one tab left. Save that. Now in that application HTML ERB, I have to say embedded Ruby tag equals render. So within quotes, messages, close quotes. Save that. Okay, so let's try it out. Over here, I'm going to reload this page. Aha, we have a problem. What is it doing? Look at the message. It's saying that missing partial articles messages, okay? So in application HTML ERB, it's actually looking in our articles folder. That's the default route it's looking for messages. It's not looking in layouts. So how do we remedy this situation? Simply type in layouts/messages. Let's try that again. If I go here, reload. Okay, so listing all articles, create new article, everything is there. Now let's create an article, title, new article, then testing, flash messages, create article. There you go, article was successfully created. So the messages are working now. Perfect. Back to articles listing. All right, now back to our IDE. So that takes care of our messages. Now I'm going to tab this over just so it looks good. All right. So at this point, what we're going to do is add the destroy action. All right. First, as with all actions, let's do rake routes. And there's the HTTP verb, which is delete. Okay. And it goes to /article/ID. But we need a way to basically let Rails know that this needs to go to the destroy action. When we send in a delete request, we have to specify that it's a delete request. And you'll see that in a second. But the first thing we want to do is we want to add the action to our articles controller. So go over to articles controller. At the bottom over here, after show, I'm going to say define destroy. And the first thing that we need to do is we need to find the article, right? So at article equals article.find params : ID. Okay? So we found the article based on the ID that we got from the params hash. Now we want to delete the article. So simply say at article.destroy. And once it's done, we have to redirect, to articles path. But we also want to send a message, right? So we'll say flash, open square bracket, : notice, close square bracket, equals article was successfully deleted. All right. So now we need to add the link to destroy. So what would be the link? Let's go to our index.html ERB, and right here we have edit and show, which we can see over here. We want to add the delete link over here. Okay, so let's add that. So right here, another TD, then embedded Ruby tag, link to, delete. Now what will be the path? The path will be the article path, and then I need ID right here, /ID. So I'll need to pass in the article, okay, the article object. But this looks very similar to the path right here, article path article for show. How do I specify it's a delete? You actually have to write this. You have to say, comma, method, space, delete. Okay? That tells Rails that this is the destroy action, delete this article. Okay? And then we're going to add a confirmation. So comma, space, data, space, within curly brace, you can type in confirm, are you sure? Question mark, and I actually have to put this within quotes. So this is the message that's going to show up when I click on that delete link. Okay, then close embedded Ruby tag, close the TD. Okay, save that. So let's see what that did. Over here, reload the page. There you go, there's my delete link. So I'm going to click on delete. There's the message that's showing up. Are you sure? Okay. Article was successfully deleted. So the message is working and the article's gone. Now let's test and remove this last article also. This is saying testing flash messages. Delete. Are you sure? Okay, perfect. So the delete action's working also. Now what I want to do is from my home page, if I look at my home.html ERB, which is my root route, under views, pages, home, this is the page that loads when I pull up my application, right? When I run my server for the first time. And then I have to type in /article/new or /articles to go to the blog portion of my application. So here I will add a link that goes there directly. So embedded Ruby, and then I'll say link to, within quotes, I'll say alpha blog. Okay, close quote, close embedded Ruby, I'm going to put a space and then a pipe and then a space and then the link to about path. So save that. And then let me go to my root route. This is the homepage of my blog app. There's alpha blog, there's about. But I didn't send this link anywhere, so I have to actually add a path to this. So I'm going to send this to articles path. All right, so let's try that. Reload, click on alpha blog. There it is. It's working perfectly. I can go to show, I can go back to my articles listing, I can edit articles, I can create new articles. Perfect. So we have a pretty decent working blog application so far with all of the CRUD actions represented. All right, so back here, I'm going to make a commit right now. So git add -a, git commit -m. I'm going to say add partials and destroy action. Close quote, hit enter, git push to push the code to repository. All right, great. So that's what I wanted to cover in this video. I'll see you in the next one. Hello and welcome back. So we've come to a point where we're ready to deploy our app to production. Okay, so deploy to Heroku. But before we do that, there's one more redundancy that I'd like to clean up, okay? So in your blog, if you go to app, controllers, and then articles controller, now notice this line that says at article equals article.find params ID, okay? This line is in the edit action. This line is in here in the update action. It's here in show. It's also here in destroy. It's used 4 times here. So this looks like a good candidate to move to a method since we're constantly repeating this line of code. So under private, I'm going to create a method. Going to call it define set underscore param, and then end. Actually, I'm going to call it set article. This nitrous is giving me a problem with my indentation. And I'll simply say at article equals article.find params square bracket colon ID close square bracket close parentheses. Okay, so basically the same code that I have here at article equals article find. Okay, so now I want to delete it from all of these methods. I have this method. I'm going to call this method. Now, how do I do that? First, let me delete it from destroy, show, update, and then edit. Be careful not to remove it where it doesn't exist. For example, in create, don't get rid of this article.new or any of that, okay? So how do we ensure that these methods where I remove this code from call this set article method first? How do we ensure that before they do anything? Simple enough. On top here, you're going to say before underscore action, then space, then colon, set underscore article, which is the name of the method that we did over here, set article, okay? Before action, set article, but we don't want the other actions to call this set article as well. We don't want index, new, create to call set article. We only want edit, update, show, and destroy to call this method. So before action, set article, comma, only, colon, space, open square bracket, colon, edit, comma, colon, update, comma. It looks like my connection timed out. That's fine. Don't worry about it. Then colon, show, comma, colon, destroy. Save that. Okay, so before action, set article, only these 4 methods will call this method. All right, so let's try it out. So I'll navigate to my application. Okay, hit enter. All right, so let's start the server. So Rails S space -b space 0.0.0.0. Hit enter. Okay, server's running. Preview application. Okay, so I'm gonna go to Alpha Blog. All right, create new article. So this link is working. That means before action set article did not get called on new, which is good. Back to articles listing. So edit should have that. So if I click on it, it should find this article. Yes, it correctly found the article. That's good. So that's working. Now update. So I will just update the description. Actually, I'll update the title. Title, update article. So this is going to the update action. Looks like I'm having issues with my container again. Okay, the server is running, but this is still, so I think my request got lost. So I'm going to enter in another request. Okay, so this link isn't working. So I'm gonna go back and I'm going to close out of this, then preview. Okay, there you go. Click on the blog. Now I'll click on this testing article, edit. Okay, so edited title, update article. Okay, article was successfully updated. Perfect, that's working. Back to articles listing. So edit, update is working. Now I'll click on show. Okay, so showing selected article, that's working as well. Now the last part is delete. I'll delete this article about partials. Delete, are you sure? Okay. Okay, so the delete action is also working and I'm getting the message. So perfect. All right, so I will shut down the server at this point. So now we're ready to deploy our app to production. So first, git space add space dash capsa to stage all of our changes, then git commit dash m to commit all of our changes, and the message we'll give is extract redundancy and prepare for production, close quote, hit enter. Okay, now git push to push our code to our GitHub repository. Perfect. Now let's deploy our app to production. Now remember, we had already made changes and deployed our app to production before, so our gem file already has the configuration that we need with group production, group development all separated out. All right, so what I'll do is simply git push Heroku master, hit enter. Okay, now it's deploying. Okay, perfect. It's deployed. So I'm going to go to this link, Command C, and instead of the local server here, I'll just paste it here. All right, now there's one step I didn't do, which I have to do right now. Over here, I had created tables here after my last deploy. So first step is Heroku run rake db :migrate. Okay, so the command is Heroku space run space rake space db :migrate. What this does is it runs all your migrations in production in Heroku. So it creates any tables that need to be created for your production application. All right, hit enter. Okay, so as I'd suspected, there were lots of migrations that weren't run in my production app, and it created all of the tables, and now our app is finally ready to use. So I'm going to reload this page. All right, now if I click on Alpha Blog right now, there it is, listing all articles. I don't have any articles in production, so create new article, first production article. This feels great. Okay, create article. Article was successfully created, showing selected article, first production article. This feels great. Now click on articles listing. Great, let's create another one. Second article. This also feels great. Click on create article. Okay, second article. All right, now let's edit the first one. And I'll say third production article. This feels great, dash edited. Update article, perfect. Back to articles listing. Third production article, this feels great. Okay, now show. The show link is working. Back to articles listing. So what if I want to delete this article right here? Click on delete. Okay. Article was successfully deleted. Perfect. So my production application is working as well. So that's good news. Now with that, we come to the conclusion of section 4. What I want you to do at this time is copy the link for your Heroku app, okay, once you've deployed, and then paste it in the discussion section so we can take a look. And not just for me, but other students as well. Everyone can take a look at your app, all right? Now, in the next section, we're going to start styling our application. We have some pretty decent CRUD functionality, and we've deployed our app to production, but if you look at it, there's not really much going on in terms of styling. And our homepage, if I go to the root route, it looks very empty. There's nothing going on. So we're going to start with styling our application. We're going to add Bootstrap, and we're going to do a lot of fun things in the next section. So in preparation for that, there are a couple of homework assignments that you need to do. If you have experience with CSS and know what it is, then you can skip this part of the homework assignment. If you do not have experience with CSS or haven't used it in a while, go to w3schools.com and click on this link for Learn CSS, okay? And then go through as many lessons here as you can, okay? As many of the links. Now, you don't have to finish it. You don't have to be a CSS expert. That's not expected at all. But you need to be able to tell what's going on when you look at code or if you're asked to build something with it, right? So at least things like classes and IDs, you need to be able to explain what those things are. So go through this. And then the next component, we're going to use Bootstrap extensively for our front end, okay? For styling our entire UI, we're going to use Bootstrap. So Bootstrap is a library that's available to you in Rails, and it's very easy to install. It's basically a CSS and JavaScript library. And once you install Bootstrap, a lot of CSS and JavaScript code become available to you to use in your application. It makes things like building navigation bars, buttons, panels, then input forms very easy, and it also styles it very nicely, okay? But if you've never seen Bootstrap or never seen it used, it could be a little challenging at first to look at or to understand what's going on. Things like, I'll go to components and then click on navbar. Now, here is a navbar. To build this navbar, you literally have to just copy and paste this code. And if you have Bootstrap installed, this code will create this navbar for you, okay? But if you just saw this in isolation and you had never worked with it, this looks pretty daunting, right? But it's really not. It's very simple to work with, but you do have to look at it and kind of get comfortable with it. All right. So a couple of things about Bootstrap. It treats your web page in a grid system. Okay. It breaks it up into 12 parts, and then it makes it very easy to work with within those 12 parts. And it's built with primarily with mobile in mind. So making pages responsive depending on screen size and all of that becomes very easy when you use Bootstrap. Now, you don't have to know all of that, but just look through it. Look at the components, then look at the CSS that's available to you, the libraries. For example, let's take a look at an example. Here is an explanation of the grid system, and something like this would be very good to read, okay, and familiarize yourself with. Then if you go to components, and if you scroll down, and let's see, Jumbotron. You can basically add this to your application simply by saying div class Jumbotron. And if you have Bootstrap installed in your app, this shows up. So that's how easy it is to basically work with Bootstrap. But again, if you've never seen it, it can be a little daunting at first. So read through it as much as you can, kind of familiarize yourself with what's available for you. And starting at the beginning of the next section, we'll work on our home page and we'll use this extensively. All right? So good luck on your homework assignment, and I'll see you in the next section.